Welcome to another episode of the Oxcore podcast presented by Boot Crew Media and sponsored by Maker's Mark. I'm your host, Cruz Oxnard. We have a new host right now, Saturday Down South's very own Chris Marler, joining the show to talk some SEC ball, and Wyatt replacing Bon the intern right now. Bon is in the cave because he is cheap with his internet. So, guys, how are we doing?
Good, man. Good. Also, not SDS, but College Football Uncensored.
Right.
From here, from the College Football Uncensored podcast. But yes, hosts are, I guess, brought to you by SDS.
Yes.
Every once in a while when they choose to. So.
All right. Well, there you go. Sorry, you didn't mean to get technical on you. So it's all good. Okay. Well, a couple interesting games leading up to this week. Week 4 college football is here. Week 3 of NFL. We have some kind of lackluster games this week in both realms of football, but we want to touch on the ones that we feel like would bring the most joy to you. So I want to go ahead and get this one out of the way because I feel like it is going to be the most lopsided game, and that is Vanderbilt traveling to Tuscaloosa to play the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama, get this, for an SEC game, Alabama is favored by 40.5. Chris,
Should it be more?
I want to start with
you. It probably should be more.
I want to start with you, though. What do you feel about the spread? Do you think it's too high? You think it's too low?
Well, so in 40-point spreads, Nick Saban is 4-11-1 in his last 16 games against that. So I don't think that is a great spread. If you follow me at all, and if you do, God bless you. But if you do, when we talk about gambling and stuff like that, there's so much more value in the. Is this like strictly gambling, or you want me to break down the game?
Both.
Okay, so like from a gambling standpoint, there's so much more value, especially early in the season, on first half spreads because Vegas is trying to get kind of caught up, and they have a killing this year, especially mainly because the Bama Texas game. But like when you talk about like where I went 14-2 last week, and I'm 28-6 against the spread this year, and most of those picks have been first quarter and first half because it's still early in the season. You have a lot of non-conference games, or you have a lot of shit games that are like in the conference like this one, where you're going to pull starters out in the second half and all that kind of stuff. So from a betting standpoint, I'm not saying that Bama won't cover a 40-point spread. I'm just saying I wouldn't bet on it because that's fucking terrifying. Like that's so many points. And you're also going up against a team that, whether they're Vandy or not, are 3-1 and have been able to put up points a lot this season. So, I mean, like, I know that Northern Illinois is Northern Illinois, but Vandy was down 28-14 last week as an underdog on the road, and they were able to win that game by 10 points. So I'm not saying don't sleep on Vandy, because always sleep on Vandy, but I don't think this is going to be something I would put a bet on.
So with that being said, though, from a game standpoint, how do you feel like this one will play out?
So Bama's going to win. I think like what's funny is I saw a stat today that Bama's top 10 in the country in offense and defense for like total yards allowed per game, or maybe it's scoring per game. And the fan base is fucking freaking out. Like the fan base could not be more like, oh, we got to get rid of Bill O'Brien and all this other shit. And I'm not saying that's not the case, but here's the other thing too. What is your favorite Bama team in the last 10 years besides 2020? And why is it 2016?
It's not. It's 2015.
Okay, well,
2015 holds a special place in my heart.
Well, 2016 holds a special place in my heart because that defense was a fucking demon, like from top to bottom. They scored eight. It was 8 straight games where you had non-offensive touchdowns. And if you're somebody that gambles like I do, I mean, like you look at like if you ever go into a game and see, will Bama score or will a team score a non-offensive touchdown? It's always plus money, right? It's always plus money. By the time we got to like the Tennessee game or the 8th or 9th game of the season, it was like minus 160 for Bama to score a non-offensive touchdown. That's how routine it had been. Last week they go into a game against Louisiana Monroe, a revenge game, if you will. Yes. And they go into that game and you score an offensive touchdown, a defensive touchdown, and a special teams touchdown. And you did it all in the first 7.5 minutes of the fucking game. Like, I don't give a shit about the offense. I don't give a shit about like the receivers. I mean, I will in the long term, but like build off that. I mean, like, let's go fucking just demoralize people from the jump, and let's do it like in every phase of the game. And then hopefully the receivers will show up, I don't know, by fucking November.
But don't you think a little bit of the struggle with the wide receivers, because it's definitely not from a talent standpoint, don't you think a lot of it has to do with Bill O'Brien's scheme? Because we have 5 and 4-star guys at running back and wide receivers, and it looks like right now Cameron Latu is our most reliable receiver, along with Gibbs. And I mean, I'm under the impression, I heard all about how great Burton was with Bryce in the offseason and how big of an impact and growth Trayshawn Holden's had. And I've heard a lot of good things about Isaiah Bond and Kendrick Law and Kobe Princess. Like, these guys are burners and 4 and 5 stars. And I think it's more on play calling and scheme, because you're going up to the line of scrimmage with 6 seconds left, giving the defense time to adjust and not just catching them off guard. And that's why Texas was able to be so effective against us. And I will say, like, Bryce, honestly, last week, like, watching that game was just careless hero ball. Was just like, I'll just throw it up. And he had 2 interceptions. He went into that game having 0 interceptions and throws 2. And yeah, it's fine in Danny when you do it against Louisiana Monroe with a 28-point lead, but you do that against Arkansas and A&M and LSU and all those guys coming up. You know, all right, that's when people start to freak out a little bit.
Well, if he does it against Arkansas, I'll be fucking shocked, because Arkansas is the worst pass defense in the country. They also have the most sacks in the country, which is cause for concern with that offensive line. Yes. But I will say this, I mean, like, and I'm not trying to be like a dickhead or anything like that, but like, if you talk about like the Jermaine Burton stuff, I heard that all offseason too. Like, but there was, if you watched any of Georgia's games, I remember saying this. I was like, I don't know why everyone thinks Jermaine Burton is going to step in the role of either a Mechie, a JMO, or and here's the other part of it too. It's kind of like Clemson and what they have going on with DJ, in not as bad of a situation. And what I mean by that is, you look at Clemson, they had Taj Boyd, and then it's like this generational quarterback, right? Like, he was basically Black Aaron Murray for Clemson. And then you have like this other situation. I mean, like, for real, like, people are going to get upset because I said black, but you know what I mean? So then you have like Deshaun Watson, right? Yeah. Generational quarterback. Who do they replace him with? Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. Generational quarterback. Then you get DJ Uiagalelei or whatever. Generational quarterback, 5-star, blah, blah, blah. Well, at some point, you have to take a step down. At some point, like, the 5-star is a first rounder that you replace with the number 1 overall player in the country and number 1 draft pick. At some point, you take a step down. So for Bama, when you have Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs and you replace them with Jalen fucking Waddle and Devonta Smith and a Heisman, and then you replace them with JMO, who's a first-round pick, and then and Jonathan Mechie, I mean, at some point, you got to take a step back. And that's what they're doing right now, because those receivers aren't as good as they've been in the past. I don't think it's a huge cause for concern. For me, it's more of a personnel standpoint that is concerning to me, because it does not seem like we're getting a lot of, like, maybe it's the fact that we don't have JoJo Earl, we don't have Tyler Harrell on the field yet. But the biggest concern for me from any play call this entire season was when Bill O'Brien on 4th and 1 had a 3rd string running back in, and like out of the shotgun with a chance to put the game away, and we're out there fucking around. That for me is an issue. Like, that is way more of an issue than drop catches, any of the issues at receiver. And I think all that will get fixed. Yeah. But again, I mean, you won 63-7 last week, and we're nitpicking, finding things to be wrong.
No, it's not nitpicking. It's more of just like, you're seeing that's more of just like, all right, huge talent gap, but you can still tell within that talent gap that there's things just not clicking. Like,
can I throw this out there?
Yes.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but can I put this out there? Yeah. Texas is a big game, right? Yes. That's a big game.
Huge game. Yeah.
But do we ever sit there and think that, like, we're not really showing everything because of the people that we're playing right now? Because here's the other part too, is when you get into fucking October and you have a stretch of Arkansas, A&M, at Tennessee, I mean, open up the fucking playbook then. I haven't said the F word this much in a minute.
Yeah, that's all good. But I'm sure Maker's Mark would love it. So
okay. But I mean, like, open up the playbook then. You know what I mean? Like, that's when it really matters.
But when has he ever opened up? But when has Bill ever opened up the playbook? Because honestly, if you go back and go watch the Iron Bowl, go watch Arkansas. Yeah. I mean, not Arkansas last year. Go watch what was it? Florida, and then A&M red zone play calling a bit abysmal, and I haven't seen any creativity from him at all. And I understand, like, C. Sarkisian and Lane Kiffins don't grow on trees,
That's the other thing.
But I think I would right now, I'm not kidding, I would rather have Scott Frost as my offensive coordinator right now come in and replace Bill O'Brien.
I'm not running the triple option.
I would rather
Also,
run the triple option.
That's a dumb comment, Cruz.
It's not a dumb comment.
I love you to death. That's a terrible comment.
Bill O'Brien, actually, if you go back and look for since 2017, since Jalen Hurts was still the quarterback, we have degressed offensively in points per game, plays per game, yards per game, and red zone efficiency per game, drastically. So right now,
our offensive coordinator was
in 2017, it was Brian Dable,
who sucked, and that offensive was bad.
And
I don't think we had.
But it's still, that offense, as bad as it was, is still putting up more offensive numbers than what we are right now with Bill O'Brien, and that's with Bryce Young instead of Jalen Hurts. And I personally think the defense is better than it was in 2017 if you go back and look, especially talent wise. Right. So I mean, I feel like offensively we should be clicking more efficiently.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What numbers are you looking at that are suggesting this? Because I'm looking right now at points per game. We're averaging almost 10 points more per game this year than we were in 2017.
Yards per game. And then
so total offense is
2018 right now. I'm sorry, I said 2018.
2018 was a generational team.
2018 was please, that generational too. After Tua got hurt,
people were calling 2018 the greatest team of all time as they were going out to
Tua got
fucking
hurt.
San Jose to get their ass kicked.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Okay,
that was tough. I hated it.
I mean, but the drop from 45 points to 47, the 48, then all the way down last year to 39 points a game with the Heisman Trophy winner, by the way. The Heisman Trophy winner. We dropped 45 to 47 to 48, then to 39.
And you know the difference is, Cruz? This is simple for
don't
you.
Don't say talent, because it's definitely
not
talent.
It's Georgia. You played Georgia twice. You're the best defense in the history of college football. You played them in a 3-week span. And you lost your entire fucking offense.
But that's a stretch of a season, though. I'm talking Florida, A&M, Auburn. We put up 10 points against Auburn in regulation.
I don't know how
a bad Auburn
and you still had a higher points per game. Yeah, like that 39 point. What was it?
39 points a game.
It was the most in the entire conference, right?
39.
Yeah,
in the SEC.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. Okay.
And you did it by losing every single backup running back you had, by losing your 2 starters, but going into the playoff and having to play Georgia twice. I'm fine with, you know what? If it's under 40, I'm fine with it. I just don't like if we're going to compare things like, well, man, that 2018 had Mike Locksley. And the same thing I said about, like, all right, generational after generational, we're used to having Lane Kiffin on a discount and Steve Sarkisian on a discount. And then having a guy like Mike Locksley, who's a offensive genius as well and great recruiter. So it's like, yeah, at some point you're going to take a step back. I don't think Bill O'Brien I don't think he's a top 5, maybe not even a top 10 offensive play caller in the country. And maybe if you're Bama, you should definitely have a higher like standard than that. But at the same time, like, I don't sit here and watch this offense and think the sky is falling. I think that there are bigger issues than the points per game thing.
I think with the ability that we have at running back and not utilizing them, and I know that, and you can't tell me we don't have talent on the offensive line. All these guys are 4 and 5 stars.
But so there's 4 and 5 stars everywhere. Like were there 4 and 5 stars on the field last year against Georgia in the national championship game?
Yes.
Here's a better question.
Evan Neal.
Did Georgia have 4 and 5 stars on the field against us in Atlanta?
Yes. And guess
what?
And they got handled.
Put up 41 points.
And they got handled.
Sometimes the 4 and 5 stars does not mean that like I mean, that offensive line is bad, dude. I mean, they are not a good offensive line.
Do you not think that that's not utilizing their skill set? Do you not think it's scheme? Do you not think that that's the problem? Not so much as talent? Because I think, are you saying Gibbs isn't a good running back because he can't?
No, I'm not saying anything about. I think all the running backs are great, but I don't think it's like I think Tank Bigsby's a good running back. I think that. Well, no, there's not any good quarterbacks on Auburn's roster, but when you have like a thing last week, where you have like 64, you have like 64% of the team, or 64% of their dropbacks are getting pressured on. that's an offensive line issue. And so, I was like, wow, how the hell do you not give Tank Bigsby the ball more? And a lot of Auburn fans are all pissed off because like, well, I mean, what are you going to do? Like the offensive line, they're getting beat into the backfield, blah, blah, blah. I get it. It's the same thing with Bama right now. Like we have incredible talent at running back. Jahmyr Gibbs should be averaging a fuck ton more yards, but the offensive line is bad. I mean, the offensive line, I'm not saying this is an indictment on Texas, but Texas was like whipping their ass up front a lot of times during that game. And the other thing is then you also saw, it's like, see, here's the one thing too about like where Bama is right now. And one thing that no one has really given credit to other teams on. Like, remember how bad LSU was last year and they almost beat us and they should have? Like, they had that zero blitz and that's just what they did on defense.
Yeah.
The fact that we all just kind of like skipped over the fact that Steve Sarkisian hired Gary Patterson, who's one of the best defensive minds and coaches in college football over the past 10, 15, 20 years, to be the associate head coach. You know damn well that all that guy did for 3 months was scheme against Bama. And then they beat him. They barely. He's over here fucking DMing Courtney from Bama Twitter after the game, and like just, which is phenomenal, by the way. But like after the game, he's like talking about, it was a tough one. But that's all that guy did for 3 months, and he's a really good defensive mind. And sometimes you just line up and get beat, man. Okay. What are we arguing about?
I don't know at this point. I honestly, at this point, I'm
not
tired.
Us, Cruz.
I'm tired of Bill O'Brien. I'm just tired of him. I'm tired.
You know what we need to argue about is that I got another DM from somebody accusing you of stealing my my graphic about the matchup breakdowns. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, my God. It's almost like I paid you to do it.
Exactly.
I literally have the Apple Cash receipts, people. I did not steal from Chris.
I was like, no, someone's like, what do you think about Cruz stealing your shit? And I was like, I posted it. Like, we're good here.
Jesus. My God. All right. So anyway. let's move on with the pick because we've been rambling. I'm taking Bama to win. I'm not taking him to cover though. I think Vandy plus 40.5 is fine. I'm taking the over though at 58.5. I am taking the over. I will say this.
We are rambling like it wasn't just me.
Yeah. So, okay. Chris, what are you taking? I'm sorry.
Hold on. What time is this game at? 7:30?
7:30.
Why can't I find on DraftKings the actual
It's
line
up here.
for
I'm
it?
literally looking at it right now.
Well, no. Besides the 40.5, I'm talking about first half and things that matter.
Oh, right. I can tell you.
Anyway, so I'm going to take Bama to win. I think it would be a situation like what's the over under here? I'm sorry, I'm so far behind on this.
No. It's okay. It's the over under is 58.5, and the first half spread is Alabama
25?
minus 25.
Ooh.
Over under 33.5.
Okay, so I probably stay away from all of these. Just to be honest, over 33.5 maybe because I think Vandy's got a better offense and can do some things well.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they have a package for Mike Wright to run the football out of it from the quarterback position.
Yeah.
But I would take Bama to win. I would not touch the line. I would say if it's 58.5, you're basically saying 48 to 10. So that's about what I think would probably happen anyway. And again, you play at Arkansas next week, so this is also a situation where you might have a lot. Maybe I'll take Vandy because you don't want to be in a situation where you have anyone get injured in the second half. You might have a Milroe game pretty early in the third quarter.
And I'd be okay with that because I want to see what he can do because he's most likely going to be your starter next year. All right, let's move on to the big matchup in the SEC East. Tennessee playing their arch rival, Florida. This game right now is honestly, I think this is a huge opportunity for Tennessee to show that they're for real. I know the offense is legit, but I want to see what the rest of the defense can do. Anthony Richardson's still looking for him to throw his first touchdown pass of the year. They barely survived the USF, and then they lose to Kentucky the week before. This game is tough for me because I like Florida's defense. I like what they have on the defensive line, but Hendon Hooker is insane. And I think Tillman is one of the best wide receivers in the country. Florida historically has owned Tennessee, even when Tennessee is rumored to have the better roster.
Right.
But I think this Tennessee team is legit. I love their offense. Defense, not so much. I know that they survived a very close game at Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's defense is legit this year in the ACC. I'm going to go Tennessee to win, but I'm picking Florida to cover at 10.5. because I think
But
Anthony
you're picking
Richardson.
Florida to cover?
I am picking Florida to cover. I think this is a big opportunity for Billy Napier and Anthony Richardson to show what they can do. I think this game is going to be a lot of read option and just try and really get Anthony Richardson comfortable because he's hearing a lot of the critics. He's a gifted runner, one of the most gifted runners at quarterback in the country. I saw Slovis in that Pitt offense able to do what they wanted on the ground against Tennessee a couple weeks ago. Slovis doesn't get hurt. Tennessee loses that game. And I like I said, I think Florida is another year or two away. I think Tennessee offensively is one of the best in the country, especially in the SEC. So, like I said, it's a mental game for me too because Florida just always seems to have Tennessee's number. But I think Tennessee wins. I think this is a touchdown game.
Yeah.
I know you're going to disagree with me.
Tennessee fucking blows them out, man. Florida's awful. Florida's awful in so many ways. And here's the thing, hammer Tennessee to win the first quarter, hammer them to score first, and hammer them to cover 6 in the first quarter. There are 5 total teams in the country that have been favored and won and covered in every game they've played this year. One of them's USC, one of them's Tennessee. Here's the thing with me for Florida, and I think I said this last night on SEC or Locked On SEC with Chris Gordy, and the issue I have for Florida is there's no doubt that Anthony Richardson can do a lot of things. He's a very talented player, and he's one of the most athletic players, if not the most athletic player. I mean, talk about a guy that's he's 6'3", 240, runs a 4.4, and can throw the ball 75 yards in the air. He is going to shine when it comes to the combine.
Yeah.
But if you've he doesn't have a touchdown pass. I've said this repeatedly, and I'm going to say it again because it's a fantastic fucking joke and fact. And that is, you almost lost last week to a quarterback named Jerry Bohannon. And nobody, it was spelled with a G, by the way. Nobody named Jerry with a G has won anything except for Lawn of the Month in the past 15 to 20 years. That's a fucking fact. So this guy, you coming in, he has the lowest rated QBR out of any quarterback in the entire state. For FBS
Jordan,
the entire state.
Jordan Travis is good. So is Tyler Van Dyke.
Right, but you know who's not? Is Anthony Richardson. He's got a 34 QBR right now.
He also does not have the receivers that the other teams do. Florida does not have good receivers. They do not. Their running backs are legit. That's not going
to change. Yeah,
it's not going to change.
That's not going to change this weekend. And the biggest thing that is going to change this weekend after this man has started, they could be 0-3, right? They're not. They're 2-1. Yeah. But they're 2-1 specifically because of the way he has played, and they should be probably 1-2 because of the way he's played. The thing that's going to change the most is he's been doing all of that. He's 0 passing touchdowns. He has 3 tackles, which is more than his entire. I think more than his or equal to his. You saw the stat. I'm stumbling through it, but the only thing that's going to change is that now he has to go play on the road. So he's been doing all that. He's been doing that shitty, where it should be easy. He's been doing that in the swamp. I don't think that him going into Neyland, and that place is just going to they're going to be fucking foaming at the mouth in Neyland and Knoxville this weekend. Because
it's going to be nuts.
They've been waiting. I mean, they've lost 16 of 17. Now I will say this, and I have Tennessee covering the 10.5. I'll probably buy it down to 9.5 to be honest, because that hook kind of scares me.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have them covering the first quarter, the first half especially. That's probably my favorite pick of the week. But one thing that I would just be hilarious is if they lose this weekend. if you're a double-digit favorite, it's happened to them.
Yes, I know.
How many times?
Multiple. I mean, look, growing up with this rivalry, and I love this. Right, I think it's one of the more underrated rivalries. Florida always finds a way to squeak by, rather it's the Felipe Franks Hail Mary, the Will Greer 4th and 15, the Tim Tebow 4th and 1. Tennessee this should be a 50-50 series, but whatever it is, I think Steve Spurrier left a curse on these people that they will never be able to get over.
He's the guest picker.
And that's even better. That screams Florida. That screams Florida to cover. I said, I think Tennessee will win. I just think I feel like Billy Napier has to get creative with what he does with Anthony Richardson. I think Billy's on the right track. Honestly, run the read option with him and ETN, because I think ETN he looks just like Travis. So Trevor is on the right path. But okay, so we're split there. The big matchup in the SEC West, Arkansas going to Dallas at Cowboy Stadium to play Texas A&M. I think this game is gonna make or break these two teams' season right now. I think right now this is probably the most important game in the SEC as of right now. Arkansas barely surviving Missouri State last week, and where basically they had to return a punt to get the lead back in the fourth quarter. A&M coming off a very lackluster 2 weeks. They get beat by Appalachian State, and then I will give them this. They beat Miami, but they didn't look good doing it. I think Miami kind of shot themselves in the foot a lot. So this is a tough one for me, but Chris, I want to start with you. What do you feel about this game?
All right. So listen, anyone that knows me knows how I feel about my dad, but there's one good thing that this man has ever said to me. Okay. And it was, they did not make all of these billion-dollar hotels in the middle of the fucking desert out of nothing. And what I mean by that is this. A&M is a 2-point favorite over Arkansas, who's 3-0. They're ranked like 8th in the country. They are like the media darling because of Sam Pittman, all that kind of stuff. I know they struggled a week ago. I don't think the public bettor, the average public bettor, knows they struggled that badly with Missouri State. The average public bettor definitely knows that A&M lost to App State. So I guess what I'm saying is, when you have a team like A&M who comes in 6th in the country, we hear about the recruiting class, they're a dark horse to win the national championship, all this stuff that like the average public bettor knows, right? Then they lose to App State. They go into this full week of the entire country shitting on them that was mainly spearheaded by me, and I will take pride in that. But you have like the stuff with like the A&M, like the 12th man and the midnight yell and all that kind of shit. For a full week, you have everyone making fun of this program, and then you go play Miami. And you're a 6.5-point favorite, and you beat them, and you cover, and you come out the next week, and you're favored by an Arkansas team. You're like, well, that's kind of weird. Why? Vegas has them favored, not because like Vegas is favored. It has A&M favored because not because they think that people will bet on it, because they know that people are going to take Arkansas.
Yeah,
A&M should probably be favored in this game by more than by around a touchdown. But they are just begging people to bet on Arkansas, and for that reason is why I think A&M is going to win the game. Wow. Vegas knows something we don't, and you see it every week. And I think this is one of the situations where, like on paper, do you think that A&M should beat them by 2 points from what we've seen this year?
From what I saw from the South Carolina game, I know this team can put up points, but after watching them struggle defensively, like the way they did, I would say A&M is definitely going to be able to score points on them. But you're asking me to pick the Texas A&M quarterback over KJ Jefferson, and I think KJ Jefferson is fantastic.
Yeah, he's been great all year. And Arkansas's defense is the worst in the country in pass defense, which doesn't really fucking matter against this team because A&M is awful on offense.
And like you said earlier, Arkansas leads the SEC in sacks, and Drew. And by the way, shout out to Drew Sanders balling out the way he is, man. Losing him, I know that Dallas Turner came in and took his spot after the injury, but damn, he's looking at him and Bumper Pool are legit. They're both going to be playing football on Sundays. I like Arkansas in this game. I think it's going to be a shootout, though. I think I'm definitely taking the over in this game. I think KJ Jefferson does enough with his legs to get the job done. I got it probably around like 42-35, 42-40. I think this game's going to be a shootout. I expect Jimbo to literally throw the kitchen sink at Arkansas. Why? Because he can, and he needs to get a spark in this A&M offense. Yeah. Because Arkansas is
Bama next week.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't think they'll be looking ahead because they know how important this game is. If you lose 2 SEC West games in a row, your season is done. Now, A&M, on the other hand, look, they got another week to recover, but their championship hopes are hanging on by a thread right now. And I know the Appalachian State, as long as App State keeps winning, it doesn't look nearly as bad. But I like Arkansas in this game. I think right now they know how important this game is, and they won't be looking ahead to Bama. I can't wait for that Bama-Arkansas game.
I think Arkansas is going to find themselves in a – God damn it, Chris. Hold on. Now, God, fuck. Now I just
What are you
switched
trying to
over
do?
from my phone to here, and now I can hear you guys. I'm probably giving you guys feedback. Hold on. Anyway,
is-
it was supposed to be really. It was going to
What's
be really
going on?
cool. It was going to be. It was going to be me playing Trapped Headstrong, saying this was a trap game, and now I want to die because now I'm really embarrassed.
So bet everything on Arkansas now.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Last, let's see. Actually, no. Do we have one more game? Two more games. Big one in the ACC. I actually am looking forward to this game probably the most out of them all. Wake Forest, Clemson, Sam Hartman versus DJ Uyunglele, which I'm making a bold prediction. I think Cade Klubnik comes out in this game for Clemson. I do. I think it's going to happen, and it's not because it's going to be a blowout. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play in this game. I think it's not because it's going to be a blowout either. Look, Wake Forest has been very impressive on offense this year, even though Sam Hartman has come off of a blood clot scare. I think they have one of the more underrated wide receivers in the ACC and possibly in the country. A little bit of a revenge factor. However, though, I'm going Clemson to win, and I'm taking Clemson to cover. I think, but I would not be surprised, though, to see Cade come in this game if the offense keeps stalling the way it is. Clemson has played to the level of competition every game they played in. They struggled against Georgia Tech until the second half. They struggled against Louisiana Tech last week. Clemson, man, they have a tough road coming up. They have Wake Forest, they have Florida State, and they have NC State. They have NC State next week. That is not going to be easy.
Hold on. Is your point that you're making?
Yes.
And again, I'm saying this with all due respect because I love you.
Good. Okay.
But your point is that Clemson plays down to their competition, and you're saying that against a Wake Forest team that beat Liberty by 1 point last week?
Did they win?
They won by 1 point. They played down their competition.
Hey, App State beat A&M.
I haven't seen Liberty struggle with anything as much as they did against that Wake Forest offense. Besides just I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say it. Gay marriage. Okay, so and Wake Forest should have put up a bazillion points against that defense, and they didn't. But now, I mean, they lost. That's a Malik Willis list. Is that how you say it? Malik Willis.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was also
Malik Willis. They lost by 1.
Sam Hartman just came off of blood clots. He needs a game to get fresh.
He played against Vandy the week before. Whatever. Either way,
he needs time.
The 7.5 is concerning, and that's why I probably wouldn't bet on it. I'm going to take. I would take Clemson to cover 6.5 because as much as they struggled with Georgia Tech and Louisiana Tech, they did beat both those teams by 31 and 28 respectively.
A lot of those were due to bad turnovers. The Clemson defense is the best I've seen in the country. They're fantastic. Their entire front seven will probably go in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft, and a lot of that though was Georgia Tech turnovers, Louisiana Tech turnovers. DJ has not impressed me at all.
No, he's bad.
But it just looks like it's a constant struggle. But when Cade comes in and the times that he has, it just looks easy. It looks effortless. And I'm not saying that he's the next Trevor Lawrence or anything like that, but I've seen Dabo be able to pull the trigger on a freshman over a veteran before.
Right.
So you feel like there's something. I feel like you want to say something there, Chris.
No, I'm not. I got to pee. That's about it.
Oh, you got to pee. Okay. All right. So we're both taking that. Okay. And the last college game that we're doing, Michigan, Maryland, Michigan finally playing their first team not named after a cereal brand. And Maryland, I'm looking for baby Tua to come in. Baby Talia. I think Maryland's uniforms are grossly underrated.
That helmet is sick.
I love it. Talia, this is a big moment for him. A lot of people had him being like, "Hey, this guy can be a problem for the Big Ten." Michigan right now, they have looked good in their first 3 games that they played, but they have played Colorado State, Hawaii, who Vandy put 60 on, and UConn, who what is it? Who did UConn just lose to like insanely bad? And it wasn't Michigan either. I think it was somebody else. But man, this is tough because Mike Locksley and Talia, and they have some stud wide receivers, but I think Michigan's just a little too much for him. I think 17's a little bit too much. So I will take Michigan to win, but I do think Maryland will put up some points on this team because I think this is by far the best offense that Michigan has played all year. And I know they're bringing in a lot of new guys. So I think Michigan wins. I think they win by 2 touchdowns, but I still pick Maryland to cover.
Man, I tell you what, nothing gets me fucking fired up like a 11 a.m. fucking call time for a big 11 a.m. kickoff. That sucks, man. Can you imagine fucking listen, you guys know I hate the Big Ten. Can you imagine fucking being a Big Ten fan? And like the sheer panic to wake up on a Saturday like on time to start getting drunk is so much. It's just so much if you're a fan. So 17 does seem like a lot, and the over-under is 65. I'm going to take Michigan because I think they've been better in big spots like this, even though we haven't given them a lot of credit. They played a garbage non-conference schedule.
Yes.
And I do think I think Maryland is going to put up points, but I do think it's going to be a situation where like this will not be a backdoor cover. This will be Michigan pulling away late and doing what they do to teams, what they've done over the past 2 seasons or season and a half, which is, like they might let them hang around early. I think they're a 7-point favorite in the first quarter. I'm trying to find it in the first half, where, I like, hold on, let me click on this real quick from our friends at DraftKings. In the first half, this is great radio. They're only a 10-point favorite in the first half. I would probably take that. I think that Maryland's going to put up points, and I think Talia will get his numbers. I just think that Michigan is too good, and this sounds weird, but on offense against that Maryland defense. And they're also built like a playoff team that won't struggle necessarily with what Maryland has. It's not like Maryland's going to line up and be physical and out physical Michigan, because very few teams will. Yeah. I think that it'll be a closer game, maybe early, but Michigan will pull away late, man.
Yep. All right. Look, we finally agreed on one. Look at that.
Fuck you, Cruz.
Okay. Love you too. Love you too.
No.
Do you? All right. I want your quick, like, rapid round real quick before I let you go, because I know you got.
Better not be about the Falcons, or I'm going to punch you through the screen.
I was not gonna do NFL at all.
All right.
Do you want to do NFL?
No, I don't. I got to pee, and I want the go prep for my pod.
All right, ready. I'm gonna just run through it and just give me one word answers. Baylor, Iowa State.
Baylor.
Okay. Texas, Texas Tech.
Texas.
Oregon, Washington State.
Oregon.
Wisconsin, Ohio State.
Ohio State, big.
Kansas State.
Are you going to give me the one I think you're going to give me?
Kansas State, Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma. But
USC, Oregon State.
Fucking douchebag. Okay, so here's the deal. I might be back on the Bees bandwagon. I know you said one word. I'm not going to give it to you. I might be back on the Bees bandwagon because that's called growth. Okay. For one. And I think 7 points is too low. Like USC is a really good football team. I didn't think they were going to cover last week. I did tell you guys that. Again, 14-2, things are looking great. Yeah. I don't know if I would touch the 7 points. If I did, I'd probably put on USC. But yeah, man, I'm going to pull for the Beavs because I don't want to see a Pac-12 team go to the playoff.
All right, 2 more games. Florida State, Boston College.
Florida State.
All right. And then last one, probably the most.
Wait, where's it at?
Non talked about. Oh, it's in Tallahassee on a night game.
What's the line?
It is Florida State minus 17.5.
Ooh. They always struggle with Boston College for some reason. I still take Florida State.
All right. And then the game no one is talking about, the basketball bowl. Undefeated Duke, 3-0. Undefeated Kansas, 3-0. In Lawrence, Kansas. Kansas is favored minus 7.
I hate what I'm going to say, but your best bet of the week,
say it.
Hammer Kansas in a fucking American football game.
Yes.
Hammer Kansas to cover 7. What are we doing? They've been really good. They've been really good. You know what? Listen, if you don't think that of them covering the 7 points is a good idea, they went to overtime against West Virginia and won by 13. Wrap your fucking head around that for a second.
I want people to go back and listen to the Big 12 preview show. And I said Kansas would not be the worst team in the Big 12 this year, and they would win 5 games. I said that on the road, on the live air with JD Bickell. I said it. Go back and check the tape.
That guy's got great hair.
He really does. It's fantastic.
Yeah. He looks like every like asshole from like an 80s movie that I've ever seen, but he does have great hair.
He looks like a USC quarterback that got benched behind John Parker, like John David Booty. He looks like it. He looks like he went to modern day. He really does.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining. I always love having you, and I'm upset that I'm not going to see you this fall. But
you never know. We'll see.
Well, you never know. Maybe if you make your way up to New York, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Stop stealing my graphics, and I'll talk to you
later. All right. Love you, bud.
See you guys.
All right. Man, I love that. That was fun. Obviously, you have to bet on this action using the DraftKings Sportsbook app. The NFL action is in full swings here at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We're talking touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets. That's right, $200. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code BOOT, that's B-O-O-T, to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a bet using $5 on any football game. That's code BOOT, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sponsor of the Aux Scored podcast. Boom. Nailed it. God, I'm getting good.
Killed that one.
Thank you. All right, NFL here. Why, it's me and you. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Seahawks looking to bounce back. I can't wait to see it against Nick's Atlanta Falcons. I'm not going to lie, Wyatt, and this is going to sound crazy because I'm giving them props. I like the Falcons in this game. Falcons have looked good the last 2 weeks. They have just not been able to finish. What else is new? But I will say this. They're blowing out the Saints. They almost came back from 28-3 against the defending Super Bowl champs. Seattle, I think they played fantastic on that Monday night against Russell Wilson. A very emotional game, but they lost Jamal Adams for the year. I think Geno Smith is way too inconsistent. If Drew Lock comes in, then God forbid. But I like Atlanta to win, and I like Atlanta to cover. I think Atlanta gets their first win of the year. What do you think?
I don't hate that decision. Drake London has looked like the real deal. Looked worth his draft position there. I really do think Seattle's sold the farm to beat Russell Wilson in week 1.
Yes.
And you looked like it in week 2 against San Francisco. So in Seattle is a little bit of a concern, but I like Marcus Mariota and the Falcons here.
Marcus Mariota, look, he had 2 bad turnovers last week, but against the Saints and against the Rams, the guy has been mobile and has been able to get the job done. And for what he's working with, I don't think he has a great offensive line, but you're right. Drake London looks like a fantastic pick for him. It looks like it's working out. So, all right, Seahawks. Sorry, bud. I'm not going with them. I'm going with the Falcons. I can't wait for Nick to give me shit about that. All right, moving on to the next game. Bills. They look like the best team in football right now, but they are going up against another team that has looked fantastic so far, and that is the Miami Dolphins. Josh Allen versus Tua. Tua threw for 6 touchdowns last week. Josh Allen blew out the Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. That game was never close.
No.
This game, as much as I want to bet on Tua in this game, I can't bet against the Bills right now. The Bills look so good. It's not even funny. They're not just beating teams. They're embarrassing teams. They didn't just beat the Rams. They emasculated them in their home stadium the game after winning a Super Bowl. That Tennessee game was never close. Him and Stephon Diggs might be the best combo in football right now. Now that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are separated, this is the best combo in football.
Thank you for that.
I'm sorry, but it's true.
Thank you for that.
Sorry. So I'm going Bills -6. I'm taking the over, though, because I do think Jalen Waddle has arrived as a receiver for Tua, and Tyreek finally got in. But the Bills' defense is legit. So I think this game will be high scoring. I think it'll be fun, but I think Josh Allen and that Buffalo Bills team will just be too much to handle.
I think did you end up watching the Bills and Titans game?
I did. I was flipping back and forth between that and the Vikings-Eagles game, which, by the way, the Eagles are scary good too.
Jalen Hurts has arrived too.
He has.
But everything the Titans did looked like they were fighting an uphill battle the entire night. The Bills sold out to stop Derrick Henry, and it looked like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs had their way with anything they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I like the Dolphins a lot. I love the Dolphins. Tua is here. He was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week today.
As he should have been.
As he should have. I love Tyreek Hill. Love Jalen Waddle. I'm not betting against Buffalo here.
Mm.
I know it's going to be a tough game in Miami, I believe, but until someone stops them, you can't bet against Buffalo, especially not with that pass rush.
No, I mean, they look fantastic. But I will say this, though, and this is something to look at, too. The Titans, who just lost to the Giants, did not look great. And then the Rams struggled against the Falcons as well. So I feel like this is actually going to be their first real test. And I think the Rams are good, but there are clearly holes there. And I think the Giants they're not bad. They're 2-0. But again, there's clearly holes there.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a real test for both teams. And I'm excited to see what Tua can do on such a huge stage. Because I've seen Josh Allen on the big stage, but I'm ready to see Tua do it.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. Bucks coming off a big emotional win at New Orleans. Mike Evans suspended for a game. They're playing the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers owns Chicago. Like we've all seen it before.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sorry I have to do this, but that Tampa defense is ridiculous. That Tampa defense is the real deal. The pass rush is real. The linebackers are fantastic. The secondary is great. Aaron Rodgers is fantastic. But from what I've seen from your wide receiver play so far, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to be that dude on Sunday. And I think Tampa's too good. I'm going with and I hate picking the Bucks. You know I hate the Bucks.
Yeah.
But I'm picking the Bucks to win this game. I think they win. I think that defense is just too much for Aaron Rodgers. I will say this though, is that AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones can definitely get their numbers on this team. Mark Ingram got his numbers.
Yeah.
He fumbled, but he got his numbers. If Green Bay can establish the line of scrimmage and control the time of possession, they have a legitimate shot. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the reason they win this game. I think it'll be Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
I'm taking the under on this game just because I think both defenses are phenomenal. Tampa, I don't know who Tampa's running out at wide receiver. Julio's dealing with an injury. Godwin's more than likely out. Evans is suspended. I mean, I saw the injury report today. Every wide receiver on the Bucs roster is on the injury report. Every single wide receiver.
It's nuts.
Their offensive line is missing a lot of preferred starters from last year, and their current starters are on the injury report as well. I think the pass rushes are going to eat in this game, and you're going to see some stupid throws from both Rodgers and Brady with turnovers.
Yep.
Rodgers does not play well in Florida. Historically, Tampa has gotten the better of him more often than not. But I'm gonna go with the homer pick here. I'm gonna pick Green Bay. I'm picking Green Bay.
Okay.
It will be the Aaron Jones show though for Green Bay to win that game.
I mean, it will have to be.
It's got to be. Your wide receiver one is Sammy Watkins, and Christian Watson, who's dealing with a knee injury and a hamstring injury at the same time, is your wide receiver too.
So I have a very tough decision to make. I have to either start Jameis Winston against Carolina, which he's questionable, or I have to start Aaron Rodgers against Tampa.
You are really in a bad situation.
I really am. It's not looking great. I'm not gonna lie though. I actually might play Marcus Mariota on fantasy.
That's not a horrible pick. Seattle's secondary they weren't great to start with, and like you said earlier, they've lost Jamal Adams for the season.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with that. All right, my team, the New Orleans Saints, looking for a big bounce-back win after a emotional loss to Tampa. They're going up against the 0-2 Carolina Panthers. This game screams trap game to me. Why? And I hate it because it's a division rival. Matt Rule is on the hot seat. I feel like it's a desperate team, and I feel like he is a guy who's just going to just pull out all the stops. I will say this, though, the Saints' defense is legit. I think they're top 5 in the NFL. They're good against the run. They shut down Leonard Fournette last week. Lattimore's not suspended, thank God. So he'll be able to cover DJ Moore. Paulson Adebo, the cornerback, too, is rumored to be back. Defense looks legit. I like the Saints to win, but I think this game comes down to like the last minute. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think Christian McCaffrey will rip off a big play probably as long as he stays healthy. But I think this defense playing against Baker Mayfield, who is known to make careless plays, I think the defense takes advantage of that. I saw the Giants give them fits. I saw Cleveland give them fits. I think the Saints will do the same thing. I just think this game is going to be way closer than it should be. I wouldn't be surprised, and not because I think talent-wise or performance-wise, but I think Andy Dalton will come in because Jameis's back will be hurting too bad. So I think Andy Dalton will see some playing time this week. Alvin Kamara is rumored to be back as well. That's huge. But yeah, give me Saints to win, and I'm gonna take the under. I know the over/under is at 40.5, but I'm taking the under in that game. I think it's going to be like a 17-20 ball game.
Yeah. I think this is a battle of the IR for real. It's what this looks like. Christian McCaffrey and Michael Thomas, your top two offensive weapons, with Jameis Winston and Baker Mayfield as your quarterbacks.
Michael Thomas is back, though. He's back.
I'm very happy I was able to pick him up in the 10th round of my fantasy draft.
Three touchdowns in 2 weeks, man. He looks fantastic. And I know this is the first season that they're playing together and really working together, but I think as the season goes along, I think Michael Thomas is going to be a problem.
I think so too. I think, like you said, the Panthers are just not a good team. I think Matt Rule, like you said, is going to throw the kitchen sink at him. Baker's known to make careless mistakes. It is in Carolina, but I don't think that really matters. I think the Saints are going to just eat Baker Mayfield alive with that defense, who, for once, I'm actually agreeing with you on the Saints. They're a top 5 defensive unit in the NFL. For once, I'm agreeing with you on the Saints.
I mean, it's hard to argue. I mean, look, defense is not the reason the Saints lost last week. That was Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm taking the Saints to cover that one. Yeah.
All right. So last game that we're going to cover, Rams. They have struggled the last 2 weeks. They're 1-1, the defending Super Bowl champs. They are currently 3.5-point favorites, and they will be going up against the Cardinals, who won on dramatic fashion last week. Maybe the best ending we'll see all season. A scoop and score from a fumble from Hunter Renfrow. I didn't have to mention who fumbled. It just feels really nice to say. Yeah. But I'm not gonna lie, man. I like the Cardinals in this game. Kyler Murray is, say what you want about him, he looks like a toddler running around with a lollipop in his hand, but he is so athletic, so gifted. And Call of Duty has not come out yet, so I feel good about this performance because we all know once Call of Duty comes out, it's game over for the Cardinals. Yeah. I think the Rams have shown that quarterbacks who are mobile, like Josh Allen and Marcus Mariota, will give them fits. Mm-hmm. And no offense to Marcus Mariota, but Kyler Murray is light years better than Marcus Mariota. Kyler Murray is legit. I'm picking the Cardinals in the upset, and I'm taking the over in this game is at 48.5. I think this game's a barn burner. But I like the Cardinals in this game.
I like the Cardinals a lot. Literally, you said Call of Duty has not come out. I was Googling if there is a double XP weekend.
It's not.
If this is a double XP weekend, because if it was, I was going Rams, but it's not. So Kyler Murray will actually be watching film this week.
Yes.
I think the Cardinals are going to take this one just straight up.
All right. Well, boom. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of the Oxcore Podcast. You can find me alone at The Real Cruz Ox at Instagram and Twitter. Make sure that you follow Boot Crew Media and the Oxcore on all socials. Wyatt, how can people find you?
You can follow me online at FultonW_. I will start plugging my own Twitter again. I guess
yes.
I kind of have to start doing that.
Yes.
Be sure to follow at the Oxcore Pod on all social platforms. And because he's not here, follow In Perkins 96 as well.
Boom. Well, we love you guys and have a great week.